about to embark upon a most unprecedented expedition.
Once they made history.
I must see to it that you die.
Now, they are history.
Ah, the great movie. And, of course, that adventure that John and Tarek went on. We're chatting, some of us around here. Every time we see that free Tarek and John, we assume it's Tarek Fatah who's been arrested. Tarek Fatah, of course, has done far more to speak up for the rights of individual Muslims around the world than those two jokers, who I think are still in Egypt. But they are coming back because, you know, you've seen Ezra on this, and I've broadcast and written about this. These are two men. They seem to have the time and the money. I don't know where they get it from. I don't know where, you know, our youngest daughter, a bit of personal digression for you here. Our youngest is about to turn 16. She's going with her mum to New York for about 3 days. That's her birthday present for being 16. Had to work really hard to find that money, lots of arrangements made, you know, trying to get hotels we could afford. And this is how you live too, isn't it? You know, you really have to sacrifice. And can we afford this? These guys just travel the world. They travel the world going to demonstrate. Where do they get the money from? Don't they have bills to pay? Well, probably not. I'm sure the government takes care of that. That is you. Anyway, they've come back. They're coming back, and all's going to be fine. And the number of wealthy lefty celebrities who supported them, but Richard Clagsburn was someone who didn't support them. But come on, this is like Gandhi and Martin Luther King all wrapped up into one furry little pussycat.
Well, there are important issues here that, you know, you have to be a little sympathetic, especially to people like Adam Egoyan, who needs John Grayson back. Because the second that Grayson sets foot back in North America, Adam Egoyan ceases to be the maker of the most boring movies in the continent.
But even, look, Adam Egoyan, as much as he's overrated like crazy, they are at least serious movies. People
yes.
do watch them. Do you know people outside of the university setting that have actually seen a John Grayson movie?
I don't know.
The gay community?
I don't know people outside of that setting who could name a John Grayson movie.
Exactly. I could. Urinal.
Well,
that's the English translation of one of his movies. Yeah.
I actually have seen a John Grayson movie, which is one of the reasons I resent him so much, is because I'm not getting those 2 hours of my life back.
What was it about?
It was a musical about AIDS with dancing penises, and it was indescribably awful.
Sorry, a musical about AIDS with dancing penises.
Yes.
Well, come on. What else are you going to take the kids to see?
Well, you know, it was that or
Right.
Ice Age too. Yeah. So
and it lasted for 2 hours.
it was give or take. It seemed a lot longer. I couldn't tell.
And the Academy Award for this year goes to a dancing penis.
I still have the scars where I slashed my wrist during.
Well, self-harm is, but they are coming back, and it's one of these, again, legends in their own lunchtime, Tempest in a teacup sort of things. People haven't heard of them. It's their friends in media who make them famous, and then we're all meant to pretend we really care.
Well, they are part of a clique that gets Canada Council grants. They're buddies with people like Adam Egoyan and Sarah Polley, so they really had a lot of media push for it.
Well, those two got very emotional about this. In fact, I think we have a clip showing them. I got a feeling that Sarah and, what's his name,
Adam Egoyan.
I think they get very emotional a lot of the time. But can we see a clip of them being emotional, please?
What's the first thing you're going to say to Tarek and John when they land back in Canadian soil?
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to cry just thinking about it.
And I'm his partner, Steven's one of my best friends, and we've known each other forever. I'm going to get emotional too, so don't ask me too much about our friendship. It's like it's a long friendship.
Yeah, getting emotional too. It is sickening. And of course, there are real examples of suffering and pain. There are people who are living, I don't know, how about those horrible, boring Christians who are being beaten to death as we speak? But only certain people apparently do produce those feelings of genuine emotion.
It is. Again, it's part of a clique. And let me go through a very quick, brief timeline, because this is important. These two people... Well, it sort of is. Because for people to understand just how we're paying for all of this, these are two people that ignored a Canadian travel advisory to go to Egypt in order to ignore another travel advisory to go to Gaza.
Yeah.
The Egyptian government, they're foreigners in Egypt. The Egyptian government had declared the Muslim Brotherhood illegal. They declared the specific day of rage protests that these two are at illegal.
Yeah.
So they were there after they ignored two travel advisories, then ignored the local laws to participate in an illegal demonstration. And they went to jail, which is, you know, we would put somebody in jail if they were participating in a riot in this country. And, you know, now we have to spend enormous amounts of money.
They had equipment which is usually almost exclusively owned by people who want to commit terror. I'm not saying they wanted to, but they had drone equipment and remote controls. which I don't have, you don't have, and most people don't have, but people who do have it tend to be those who want to attack enemy targets.
Well, I mean, that's a bit of it's odd because those things can be used for filmmaking, so it's really curious that the excuse they used for having them was to transport medical equipment.
There were no cameras on them.
Again, it's all very strange. I have no explanation for it. But you know, there is something else that I think is worth bringing up, in that something really extraordinary did happen this week. And I didn't expect it to happen. For 2 months, the only media source that was offering any kind of critical analysis of what these people were doing and why they were there was Sun Media. And a couple of days ago, miraculously, the Globe published something critical.
Post.
The National Post ran a couple of pieces, to their credit, they did, that touched on it in a way, and that was actually quite courageous of them to do it when they did, because...
But the Globe and Mail as well.
But the Globe just did it recently in a rather severe way, and what's interesting is that you can't really gauge society by comments on internet sites.
No, of course not.
But you can actually get a somewhat of an understanding of the type of people that read that site. And this news came as a complete shock to so many Globe readers. They had no idea that John Grayson and Tarek Lubani were people who, you know, had this incredible history of fanatical activism, of radicalism, of law-breaking. It's incredible.
Well, because the most unworldly people are those who pride themselves on being so open-minded.
Of course.
By the way, I want to show a still now of, what's her name, Jenny Pinto?
Pito.
So Peter, sorry,
yes.
I'm not Portuguese.
Yeah.
Can we see that, please, just that still picture of her on Al Jazeera? Just keep that up there for a minute, because it's very interesting. Now, I mean, you know, this is like the Freudian subtext here. We could, a whole library will be needed. This is a Jewish girl who's a lesbian or whatever, or dresses. Is she a lesbian?
Yes, she is.
She dresses in a very masculine way all the time. I don't know why. I know many gay women who just dress as ordinary women, but apparently you've got to make a statement here. And she seems to make her name out of being anti-Israel. She's on Al Jazeera. Now, her group is Queers Against Israeli Apartheid, right?
I believe she's involved with them. She's written in defense of them.
This is Coalition Against Israeli Apartheid. The word queer seems to have been expunged.
Well, no, they're members of different groups, so, you know, they...
Look, the word queer is not going to be on Al Jazeera.
Oh, not on Al Jazeera. Oh, for
That's
sure.
the point we're making.
Oh, yes,
there is no way Get with the program, comrade.
Well, no, you're right.
There is no way Al Jazeera, Al Jazeera, representing the Islamic and Arab peoples, is not going to use the word queer because gay people are treated so badly in the Islamic world.
Oh, of course.
But of course, in this horrible patriarchal Western world, or in the Jewish state of Israel, you could use the word on TV and nobody would blink an eye.
It's true. And one of the interesting other components of all this is that these people who claim to be pro-Palestinian, like Jenny Pito, like John Grayson in particular, they're not pro-Palestinian, they're anti-Israel. And there's a difference. They don't care about the Palestinians. Palestinians are treated abysmally all through the Middle East. They don't bring up one word about the way Palestinians are treated in Lebanon, in Kuwait, in Iraq, any of that. They only care about Israel because Israel is what they see as a soft target in the global war against capitalism for them.
They were treated rather well in Iraq under Saddam, I have to say. They're not treated so well now. And of course, as soon as Saddam fell, there were public attacks on Palestinians, often stopped by British soldiers at the time who said, no, you can't do this. But
and also in Syria now.
The world is not as simplistic as people on the hard left like to think. It's rather nuanced. As are you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.